All right, this may be a familiar scene. Where are we going today?
Paris.
No, we're going to Cincinnati.
We're going to Cincinnati. Where are we going tomorrow?
Paris. By the time we wake up, we'll be in France. Well, if we go to sleep. Hopefully.
Who's excited?
I am.
Me. Les Invalides and the Eiffel Tower are in the background there.
I'm in the foreground.
Hello, foreground.
Bonjour. C'est Paris. C'est incroyable.
This is our first meal in France.
I have the crêpes Champs-Élysées, le crêpe Versailles et le crêpe Tour
Eiffel.
et banane et chocolat.
Ooh, here we
I
are.
like the Aston Martin that went by better.
This is our view. Hey guys, did you find it? Where are we?
À la Tour Eiffel. And we are noticing that it's actually two different colors right now. Some of it's still the old brown, and then they have the yellow brown, which they went back to the original colors from the 1907 to 1947. They paint it every 7 years, and it takes 2 years to paint.
What are we doing?
We are taking the metro back to our hotel. And we're tired. Do we look tired?
No. Yes.
Let me tell you how many. I've walked 16,000 steps today. Here it comes.
Here we are for dinner.
So Ty is learning how to eat cheese and bread in a French fashion. He's got it down. Look at that.
Ty's having beef tartare, and he describes it as slightly confusing because it looks like it's raw meatloaf.
But he likes it.
But he likes it. Gabe's having beef bourguignon, and he likes that. Excuse me, croque monsieur?
Croque monsieur.
Excusez, croque monsieur?
Avec tes frites et une salade.
And I'm having partially cooked tuna, as it was on the English menu.
I was voice texting my mom and dad and Barb, and I voice texted them the word. I said Champs-Élysées because we were walking down the Champs-Élysées today, but my phone wrote Sean, Jose, and Lisa. Oh my goodness.
That's good stuff right there.
It is.
It doesn't speak French, apparently.
No, pas beaucoup.
This is the view from our hotel room in Paris. Okay, it's been a while since we went to sleep, so it's been an incredibly long day for us.
Yeah.
But what's the thing that you've enjoyed the most today? Maggie?
My thing that I enjoyed the most was the fact that the itinerary was accomplished. And that might seem like on one of these other days it's not going to be as big a deal, but like what the big thing on the itinerary was getting here on time, and we did that. And then the weather was beautiful all day, so we got to do everything we wanted to do, and it was just gorgeous. And they closed down a lot of the streets today because it was Sunday, and so people were out walking and there wasn't a lot of traffic, and yeah, it was beautiful.
Gabe, how about you?
Flying was number one. Number two was seeing cool castles. And number three was seeing the Eiffel Tower.
I would say either seeing the Eiffel Tower, having dinner. Dinner was good.
Eating beef tartare?
Yeah.
Raw meatloaf.
Yeah. And then looking at all the car models.
I'd say that my top moments of today We're eating at a cafe in Paris and going to the Eiffel Tower. Really amazing. And then I got to sing the song on the Champs-Elysees. Pretty cool.
We're
Hi.
at one of the oldest metro stations in the city. Hey Gabe, where are we at? Tell the camera.
Flower market.
That's right. Marché du Fleur. Smells good here, doesn't it? Here we are at Notre Dame. We just finished a lunch of sandwich, a quiche, and a tarte.
Looking at the gargoyle up top here. This is the reliquary where it meets the crown of thorns. His main pain. This is where we're staying. You can see a roof and some green walls and a couple of windows. And there's our rental car. These flowers smell amazing. Here's the gate to the manor house. Manor house in the background. And we have a moat.
My favorite part, plural, of yesterday was one, getting a new car. That's fun, as always. And I liked going to the cathedral and getting to see all of the stained glass. And then I like going to Notre Dame as well, because that was cool. It's Notre Dame.
I think my favorite things from yesterday were exploring the grounds around the house that we're staying at and seeing Notre Dame.
I kind of got choked up just seeing the fact that Notre Dame looked so good and that it's standing and clean and filled with people and survived so well. That was pretty cool. I really liked walking through flower shops there. That was really neat. That was my favorite. And then arriving here, which was so cool, and walking with Mark last night.
Yesterday, I think my favorite part was going to see the conciergerie. And I just couldn't believe that a king would be inside the same physical location as a jail. It just kind of blew my mind. And it was neat to see what it looked like in that time period. We had these tablets and kind of did a little virtual reality just to give you a better sense of what it looked like, because it was barren in there today. This is the Vale of Mary.
Grand Trianon, which was the getaway of Louis XIV when he had too much of Versailles. And it's a smaller palace here on the grounds of Versailles. And there was Petit Trianon for Marie Antoinette and the children of Louis XVI. But it's decorated, I just found out, in the style of Louis Napoleon. So it would have been like the 1800s. But it was built during Louis XIV's era.
My favorite things from today were going to see the manor house, which this property used to belong to back in the olden days, and I liked going to Chartres, and which was the biggest cathedral built until the Vatican was built. And then I like going and seeing Versailles and all the gardens.
I think my favorite thing about today was seeing the Chartres Cathedral.
I think that my favorite thing today was size. Chartres sitting up on the mountain or on the hill over the town, and how big it is and how it just looms all over. Like we could see it from driving in from the countryside, just like when I was a kid. And I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to go see that. And we did it again. And then Versailles, when we got out of the car and everybody was like, is that it? I was like, yeah, and that's it. And that's it. And that's all of the palace. And
Today I was just simply blown away by how conceited and arrogant and self-centered the kings were to build Versailles, and how they had their entourages and how it was a big deal for each of them to get up in the morning and to go to bed, and who got to watch them and bathe them, and it's just amazing. Maggie, what'd you find?
I found a bunch of pots. Maybe they have kimchi or some bean paste in them. We're in the Korean garden at the chateau.
There's a turret on the stables here. This is inside the turret, and these flower-looking things are all geodes.
My favorite thing about yesterday was seeing all of the flowers and trees in the castle gardens. There are some very unique and really colorful flowers in there.
My favorite thing was the trees around the chateau, which might sound odd, but there were these pine trees that were incredible, and they were everywhere on the grounds, and they were just magnificent. And they made the chateau even more storybook-like than it was just on its own.
So my favorite part of yesterday was seeing the castle when we first saw it, like coming around this corner out of the woods, and we got to see the castle and then overlooking the hill. And then my other favorite part was seeing the stables at the castle, because I thought those were really cool. And we got to see like an elephant harness and a lot of other stuff that was there.
And the elephant harness was not because of the horses, it was just a gift.
It was a gift because some Maraja or somebody gave the lady who lived there an elephant as a gift coming from India.
I think my best part about yesterday was taking the photograph out in front of the chateau with the four of us. It just didn't even look real. It was so amazing. But it was just so beautiful, and I loved the drawbridge too. It was incredible how it was counterbalanced, and to be at a place that has a drawbridge. You've heard about them from many, many stories. So it was very cool to see that.
We are at Utah Beach, and this is an indoor version of what it would look like there on Lily Day.
It's the first D-Day beach we've been to. So they had a German mortar bunker up at the museum that they had found. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see it after studying D-Day for a while.
Here we are at Pointe du Hoc. Here's one of the craters that was formed by a bomb. There are hundreds of these craters.
Je suis en vraie française parce que j'ai un foulard et aussi de baguettes dans mon sac de Carrefour. Alors, je suis française. For about the past 5 minutes, the bells at the cathedral have been just playing like this.
So my favorite thing about today was getting to see all of the German bunkers and machine gun nests and trenches and pieces of concrete that were left in the dock. I like the dock. That were left from on top of Omaha Beach.
So my favorite part of today was getting to see the bombers and getting to go in the German bunker and look out along the coast, because that's just cool, getting to see what the Germans saw when they were being attacked by the Army Rangers.
Yesterday I realized was Red Kimmon's 104th birthday, if he was still living, and he was, I don't know if he was there on D-Day, but he entered Europe through Normandy and then fought in the Battle of the Bulge and was captured by Germans, and we got to know him really well, and just neat to be at Normandy right at his birthday. So that was really cool. And then I think the other thing that really touched me today was just how grateful that most people that were there at the Normandy beaches today were French. Students were there, kids were there on field trips, and just how grateful the people still are for the Americans and what they sacrificed. And I can't say we because it wasn't my generation, but it was really, really neat. One addendum too today was we were eating a picnic at the base of the Bayeux Cathedral, and all the bells started ringing at the cathedral. We're like, they're going on forever. It's like 20 minutes. Like, what's going on? We got in the car, they're still going on. We didn't know what was going on. Then we realized there's a new pope.
I think for me, the biggest thing was just being overwhelmed by the sacrifice and the number of men that came through Normandy Beach and how they did it and how they scaled the walls and came out of the boats, and just the massive amount of infrastructure that was needed and supplies and how everybody worked together. It was really impressive. And they were fighting for the world, for freedom. So here we are, we're walking along, and all this history is everywhere. And then here we see this thing moving in the front yard. It appears to be a robot electric lawnmower.
Good morning.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
This is the bell tower, the Church of St. Catherine. The reason it's separate from the church is because it was made out of wood and they were worried about the weight of the structure. The main church building. This church is made out of wood because they spent all their money fortifying the city's harbor, and so wood was the less expensive way to build their church.
We are in Etretat. This is the English Channel. And these are the cliffs.
This is our home for the next several days. It is huge.
It is.
And really nice.
Really nice.
Here is the kitchen. Also very large. This is Ty's room. And then we have a balcony outside. Those are the steps to the front. And there's this large room here with a toilet, another staircase. Up here are 2 more bedrooms. Bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2. This is our street. And this brown one is where we're staying, up on the 2nd floor. And this is at the end of our street.
My favorite part of today was going into the Belgian grocery store and getting to see all the new food and language and all the new stuff that was there.
My favorite part of today was breakfast and lunch because we got to have a lot of very good and French food.
Etretat was amazing. Even though we didn't get to hike to the cliffs, we got to see them, and they were beautiful. We got some good pictures. And then the very first thing we did this morning when we left was we went to a place called Beuvron on Auge, and it was this little bitty Norman village, and it had great Norman architecture, and like nobody was up yet. So we were walking around at like 8:30, and it was quiet and beautiful, and it was just neat to see it all.
I think the 2 most interesting things for me today were the church that we saw. It was made out of wood, where all the other churches we've seen have been made out of stone. And the other thing was, Gabe and I have been watching Dunkirk, and I thought, well, it'd be cool to stop in Dunkirk. It was right on the way, and it wasn't anything like I expected it to be. There was no old city, and we think that's because of the war that happened in World War II. All right, so Ty is interested in what this type of candy is, and it's Bruges Nunbillen. And so Mom put it in the translator, and we'll just show on the screen what it says. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah.
We don't think that's what it is. So the chocolatier opened, and we went inside, and we asked him what that candy was, what it was made out of, and apparently it's not made out of nun buttocks, but it is what, Ty?
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow. So a little different. Maybe nuns' butts or marshmallow. I don't know.
I think that's what they're implying.
Heavenly. Here we are in the city center of Bruges. This bell tower has a carillon with 47 bells in it.
In 1100s, they brought back a vial, supposedly, of Christ's blood that had been preserved in Jerusalem, and the Jerusalem bishop gave it to a knight, and he brought it back to this spot as a thank you for helping defend Jerusalem, and they have it housed here as a relic still to this day. What are we enjoying, boys?
Belgian waffles.
How is it, Ty?
Good.
Mama has pickles over there for her treat.
Some sort.
Not really sure, like curry pickles. Yep, curry pickles, and Ty has mayonnaise and Gabe has mayonnaise too. Quite different from this morning. There are so many tourists here in Bruges. I've been wanting to go to a bike shop all day, and we found one, and then learned that it's closed for a private party. I'm not able to go in. But these bikes right here are 1,375 euro. The one behind it is 1,910 euro. And these are nothing that I would call special. They have some utilitarian value, and they have lights that are
They have some cool gear shifts too.
powered by the back wheel, but that's about it. Oh, comes replete with a bell. How about that? Thanks for coming with me, Gabe.
So the things that I enjoyed the most today were the Belgium waffles and fries and chocolate. They were all very good and a lot better than the waffles, fries, and chocolates that I've had before.
Today was a day of perfect weather. It was my birthday, and I didn't have a birthday cake today. I had a chocolate crepe that I made after shopping at the grocery store for the ingredients, which is fun. But my favorite thing about today was the nooks and crannies of Bruges. There are so many little things in this city that are charming. Every light post, every canal, every garden, every flower, the bridges, everything. So that's what's so amazing, is every little thing is charming.
My favorite part of today was getting to see 2 different Lamborghinis and a new BMW that I'd never seen before.
I don't know, today was just a lovely day. I enjoyed the sights, the sounds, the smells, the history. I think for me though, just seeing all the bikes around. We even tried to go to a bike shop and it didn't work like I had hoped it would, but it's just neat to see all the different kinds of bikes that are here and people that are using them to travel and get places and put groceries on them and their kids and just get from point A to point B. We even saw an arch that was made out of bicycles for somebody's wedding at City Hall today, which is just very cool. So we're going to the museum here in Ypres for World War I, and we couldn't get there via car because there's a race going on. And I think that this may be the finish. And they have hundreds of volunteers out in the outskirts of town that are manning traffic.
This is chlorine gas, and this is mustard gas, or at least the sense of chlorine and mustard gas. We don't know what these two are, but this is an exhibit that allows you to smell what the gas smelled like during World War I.
But they're completely harmless.
They're completely harmless.
That's a key factor.
Yes.
We are taking a tour. We're doing it in a way that we've never done before, through a virtual reality type experience.
My favorite parts today were seeing all the artifacts at the 2 museums that we went to and walking through the trench and the underground bunker.
My favorite part about today was going to the second museum we went to about World War I and getting to learn more about the strategy involved with the Battle of Ypres.
The highlights for me today were seeing the Ghent Altarpiece in its totally redone splendor, which was awesome. And everything's there except for one panel, which was stolen. They still haven't replaced that, but they have an imitation panel. And then also seeing the Rubens painting in the cathedral at St. Bav's Cathedral here we're in Ghent right now. But I also really enjoyed going to the Passchendaele Museum. We went to 2 museums about World War I and Flanders Fields, and I really enjoyed walking through the trenches and the tunnels, and I didn't think that would be such a cool experience, but it really was, and we got to see like how they were built and just what it was like for the soldiers. It was very eye-opening.
I think the biggest takeaway for me today was just learning about World War I. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I don't think I've studied it much at all, and I learned a great deal from the 2 museums that we went to. Here we are, our last evening in Bruges.
Yep.
And we're along the canal here. It's just a very peaceful, beautiful evening. One would think that we're going to come here to study history, but instead, these folks are going to a different kind of history. And the boys think this is going to be their favorite place that we've been so far, and they haven't even been there. This is a motorhome built by Ford in 1924. Very train-esque, as Maggie pointed out. This is a 1969 Volvo 121, also known as the Amazon.
And it had what?
3-point seatbelts.
Yep. First car to do so.
Here is our 1991 Ferrari Testarossa that I thought was so cool when I was a kid. Especially the way the air intake happened here for the engine. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful car. I find this Messerschmitt to be really incredible because they weren't allowed to make planes after World War II. Instead made cars, but yet this car still has a very plane-like design.
This was my most interesting car because it was made out of, this is back when all the bodies of the cars were put onto chassis that were mass-produced, and they were done by carriage builders, I think they were called. And I love the wood and the silver, and it was made for a Shah in the Middle East, but they never picked it up, and so it went to somebody else, but very interesting and unique. This is my favorite car. It was the 1960s Lincoln, and it was used by the king here in Belgium, but I like it because it's also used by many types of American presidents, and it's just a beautiful car, and it's huge, and it kind of symbolizes America in the 1960s.
This is the car that I found the most interesting. It's a Honda sports car. I haven't seen a Honda sports car before, and its design was also based off of the cockpit of a fighter plane. This is my favorite car at the museum. It is a 2010 Ferrari 599 GTO.
All right, Gabe, what's before you here?
A Tesla.
A Tesla, what kind?
Tesla Roadster. It's a 2-speed manual.
But it's electric?
But it's electric. 248 horsepower, 0 to 100 in 4 seconds.
0 to 100. Let me get that straight. 0 to 100 in how many seconds? Wow.
So this is my favorite car, the 2002 Ferrari Enzo. It's a 6-speed manual transmission. Its top speed is 350 kilometers an hour, and it goes 0 to 100 in 3.65 seconds.
With the right driver.
With the right driver, who knows how to use it. And it has like adjustable spoilers on the back, and it's a carbon fiber body, and racing seats, and all the good stuff.
And here is where we spent our last day in a museum in Europe. I think that Mama enjoyed it nearly as much as everybody else.
I did.
Here we are at the top of the city in Brussels, and this is the end of our vacation.
It is.
We go home tomorrow, fly home all day, and see you later. See you back in stateside, I guess.